The elevation certificate, we actually have applications in our office because I negotiated with CEDACOG to do an RFP, a request for a proposal, on elevation certificates, and you can actually get one for $450.
Can I just address that issue? An elevation certificate it is not what determines whether you are in or you are outside of the floodplain. It is a regulatory map, and the map is what determines whether you are in or out. So, and I'll tell you, the maps are not 100% accurate. So the map could show that you are outside of the floodplain. An elevation certificate could actually show that your house is below the flood level. But that elevation certificate then does not put you into the floodplain.
It validates.
No, it has nothing to do with it. If you are out by mapping, you are out. It does not matter what your elevation is, higher or lower. The only thing that an elevation certificate will do is if the map shows that your structure is in the floodplain, an elevation certificate, if the lowest adjacent grade, so that where the ground touches the foundation wall, wherever that is the lowest, if that elevation is at or above the flood level, you can apply to FEMA to have the structure removed from the floodplain. But an elevation certificate is not what determines, is not solely what determines whether you are in or out. So you need to look at the map to make a determination about whether your structure is in or out. But if it's outside of the area that's delineated as floodplain, you are not in the floodplain.
And Bill, how
It may
many,
have to do with the availability of bank loans. Elevation certificates are frequently required by lenders.
And she's right, if the flood waters touch your property,
Right.
okay? I mean, your structure, and I'll just give you an example, you can have 100 acres, okay? And if floodwaters touch, and so on one end of that 100-acre property, you have a structure, and on the other end, you have no structure, and floodwater touches that property, a lender may require you to get an elevation certificate to show that you are out,
Right.
okay? But, yeah, the elevation certificate just in and of itself, no, so you don't want to just rush out and pay $800 or $450 for an elevation certificate until you first look at the maps.
now the other point to that, Bill, how many designations are there flood? A, E, X?
A, E, and X. So
Okay.
X is what they used to refer to as the 500 floodplain. The X zone is not regulated, okay? There's no floodplain, or there's no flood insurance requirement in the X zone. It's not regulated in any other way. A and AE zones are regulated. The difference between A and AE is A zones are approximate. So if you look on a map, there's just a blue area, okay? There's no elevations. Those are difficult. AEs are the same, but there are elevations that have been established because a detailed study was done to establish that floodplain and those elevations. So, but I think everything here, I'm not aware that there are any A zones, not along Kinney Run, along the Susquehanna. I think everything in this area is all in AE.
I had several properties done with that, and it didn't change the status at all.
Correct.
But if you have a mortgage, the bank's going to want to know what flood zone you're in.
I just want to correct one thing you said, Bill.
Risk.
Even if you're out and the lending institution thinks you're at risk,
Correct.
they still can require you to.
The lending institution ultimately has to say so about whether you need or don't.
One of our biggest benefits that we're promoting the elevation certificates is the fact that it helps you with your flood insurance.
That's right.
If you can prove your elevation compared to what the map that determines what your flood insurance should be is a paper map. The elevation certificate is an authentic document. It tells you exactly your height above the base flood elevation. So that can help you go to your insurance carrier for your flood discount and determine. On our website for the town, we've done a lot on our flood page, and I promoted, and I have all 7 letters that FEMA is in the process of sending out to residents that tells them the benefits of an elevation certificate and why and how it'll affect you based on your insurance costs, because the premiums are going up 15% every year on flood insurance. The elevation certificate can help you standardize where your house level is. With that knowledge, you can compare it to where the flood maps say you are to get at least a hopeful standardized flood insurance on that growth factor. That is one of the main components of why we're promoting elevation. It's known data. So if you know the data, then you don't have to rely on just what the firm map squiggles past your property on.
That's what I meant by validated.
It could be a dual-edged sword. You could take that elevation certificate to the insurance company, and it could actually result in a higher.
They're not allowed to.
Huh?
They're not allowed to negatively impact you. The firm is the firm unless you can do better proof.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you that not all insurance companies are playing by the rules.
That,
We don't have any insurance executives here.
I thought the flood insurance was federally regulated, though.
You'll go to an agent, just like you do for anything else. But I'm going to tell you, most agents don't understand the flood insurance program. Okay, that's just the bottom line. Okay, I mean, even, like for instance, if you get an elevation certificate that shows that the structure can be taken out of the floodplain, you're entitled to a refund of the premium that you just paid. Not all insurance agents or even companies or even banks are playing by that rule. I mean, so for instance, if a bank says you need to have flood insurance and we're purchasing the flood insurance for you and you're going to pay it, and then you go through the process of getting an elevation certificate to show that the structure's out, you go to the bank, you're entitled to a refund by federal law. But not all banks are even understanding that. I mean, I've had to be on the phone with multiple banks, insurance agents to explain to them how the program is supposed to work. And I'm just telling you, it's not a universal understanding of how the program works by the banks and by the insurance agents. So, but I mean, that's a whole nother topic.
And one last thing, we're all going to see another flood. And then somewhere down the line, and remember, you can, to alleviate a problem that's affecting your home, you can call us and get an emergency permit to take care of what needs to be done. And that we can issue in hours. And people are afraid sometimes to call to get something done. Don't be afraid to call, please. I mean, I know we're DEP, but we honestly, if it's an emergency situation, we'll have people out there looking at it and we'll get you a permit. If it's affecting your home or your driveway or your personal property. So don't forget to call us at the next flood.
I have a quick question. I guess recently Scott Township has said that you can't drop grass clippings here. Where do you recommend telling people to go drop it then? Because if we're going to try to clean it out, the last thing we want is people coming from the outside dumping it in there.
Right. Well, if there's going to be, if there would be a cleanup, there would have to be something that would be structured and
It'd be cool.
set up.
that'd be just like you do when there was the flood and there's a contracted dumpster situation.
No, I'm talking like right now when people start to mow their lawns. Because we have people from outside who aren't affected by the flood. They're like, oh, I'll just dump it back there in that water because it's already dirty. So where can we tell those people, whether it's posting a sign here, hey, you can't dump it here, but here's an alternative for you instead of illegally dumping it in something that's going
You're
to cost.
talking yard waste.
I am, yeah.
Okay. That's a good
People
point.
dump things back there, so.
Yeah, I think the problem is, and I'll let Charlie answer this as far as grass clippings, because this is a new
Right.
policy for the town, as far as I understand, so I'll let Charlie explain.
We're not accepting grass clippings just because the safety issue we're having at our compost site, because we've had over 25 fires in our composting operations. So that's why we're not taking it in the mass or from Scott Township and collecting it to us. I would definitely recommend calls about and monitoring for illegal dumping. That is a major violation that goes against any and all regulations,
Right.
and they'll see a lot of violations on that. But in general, Scott Township, residential-wise, it's going to be a local disposal item right now. I was on the phone with the DEP environmental issue office this morning, and grass clippings is not required to be done, so at this time, it's going to be an individual disposal item.
Okay.
So you can do it in mass, you can do it in individual with your local trash.
You're really encouraged, instead of removing grass clippings to mulch.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we do, but not everybody does
I
that, so,
understand, but yeah, that's.
yeah.
Any other comments or
And then,
questions?
I guess-
Yes.
oh.
Hey, I just have one simple question, and there's a rumor going around Sherwood Village that the Scott Township supervisors are going to look into changing our flood zone classification so that our insurance rates would probably be higher. Is there any truth to that?
Well, there is not initiated by Scott Township, but due to the 2011 flood, FEMA is looking at changing the flood maps for not just Scott Township, but for many of the communities. So it's not been published yet. Don't know when it's going to be published, but
There's two things available.
We
There's
weren't
Columbia County
flooded
has-
by the river,
I don't know, I understand, I'm just saying that.
so they shouldn't do that to
Yeah, no, but
us.
I'm just saying that as a result of the 2011 flood, they're re-examining the maps.
I can tell on behalf of the Scott Township supervisors, that's not true, that's a rumor. First time I ever heard of it, is when you said it. But as Todd just said, we have nothing to do with the flood map. That's going to be FEMA, and they're going to issue where they think the new flood zones are going to be, and that should be finalized next year or this year. I think it's
It's
either
something
this year.
I'd have to go back and check. Like you said, it's not FEMA's doing reworking
It was
the map.
projected 2019, potentially 2020 now. But best available data is on their Columbia County Resiliency website. They have the map for the whole Wyoming Valley, zoom into your parcel, and you can see what the projected changes are going to be. Also, the link is for MSC, it's Map Service Center, that is FEMA's flood mapping. And both are going to tell you the best available data that they're forecasting that to be. I have an entire list of ins and outs of what the new maps would say, so the data's out there. It's not official until FEMA establishes a new firm, or the firmette, to make it official, but the data's there. You can
But
look.
there would be